Hi, I'm Brian, and just recently I've been listening to this album, Happy Families by Blancmange. Why? Okay, so here's the thing. In the 90s, I got rid of all of my records, all of my vinyl records. I just put them into huge garbage bags and took them over to a friend's place and just gave them away like they were frisbees or treats. And I kept about 30 or 40. I'm not sure why. But then start to get that longing, that hankering for some more vinyl and put it into your collection and just, be able to shop again. And the Sunburned Sailor, one of my good friends, was really instrumental in this, just giving hints that I might want to buy albums. So I made the decision that I would go to record shops, but what I would do is I would only buy albums that I never had in the past. Now, that decision lasted me about a month or two, but I think one of the first, if not the first, was Happy Families by Blancmange. I'd always heard of Blancmange. I'd heard the song Living in a Ceiling. I love the new wave period in the early 80s coming out of England. Well, why not? Give it a shot. That's what I've got. And I'm going with it. And it was the period, wasn't it, of the synth pop duos, trying to be really edgy but still very commercial. One foot in the edginess camp, the respect from everybody in the music crits, and the other was, can we still sell a lot of records while we do this? Some people did it, but who did we have? We had the Eurythmics, we had OMD mainly. We had Yazoo. Who else did we have? I'm missing somebody. Oh, the Pet Shop Boys, of course. All these duos were getting in the charts. And this was Blancmange's attempt with Neil Arthur on vocals and Stephen Luscombe on keys. Produced by Mike Howlett, who also did some work for OMD, the Comsat Angels. There we go, on the London Records label. Comsat Angels. And even in Australia, he produced Hunters and Collectors EP Payload. So, really bizarre cover art as well. It looks like something from Enid Blyton or Kenneth Grahame gone very, very wrong, or very right, or very high, or very low. I'm not sure. So let's ask ourselves, does this album actually have any credibility? Should it be purged immediately? Or is it really a sweet, guilty Blancmange pleasure? Let's find out. Oh, I've already done the introduction. I've got to go straight into it, don't I? So, one gets into habits and routines, and sometimes it's awfully hard to get out of them. So the first song starts off with I Can't Explain, which is some serious funk groove. It sets it up. It's got this bass line and the guitar harmonics, and the singer comes in. Who's that? Neil comes in with sort of an angsty, melodramatic vocal. Very, very strong indeed. Great backing vocals as well. And there's this wonderful, eerie middle section, which just devolves, if you like, into these dissonant synths and sound effects and bells. Is really kind of edgy, and then it collapses down to virtually nothing, and then re-emerges with the verse chorus. It's a really exciting, engaging start to the album. And then we have a second single. It was called Feel Me. And speaking of funk, this was definitely a song of its time with that sort of synth funk sort of sound. And it really gives off that 80s vibe, but also can be read in a very contemporary, enjoyed in a contemporary manner as well. I love David Rhodes' muted guitar work on this song. And then we've got this low urgency in the vocals where it's everything's down here and we're singing, then it slowly builds up and it's going to go somewhere huge. It's like waiting for a guitar solo. But we've got the bridge with the decidedly minor feel to it, and then Neil comes back with his vocals, but this time there's a taint of desperation, pressure, energy and compassion to his delivery, a la sort of David Byrne, in terms of, you may ask yourself, what have I done? The female backing vocals all the way throughout this album are absolutely superb. And who have we got? Stevie Lang and Joy Yates and Madeline Bell, all fantastic all the way through. And these weird lyrics: put your hands in the pocket of a friend. What do you feel? Tell me now. Well, there you go. Let's move on to the next song, which is the first single, and it's called I've Seen the World. And it's got a great new wave feel to the opening. And then we move into, it sort of gives us a sense of early Depeche Mode. Now, I'm speaking of early Depeche Mode from somebody who only owns the first Depeche Mode album, Speak and Spell. I can't remember that guy who jumped over to Yazoo. What's his name? You're yelling at me, yelling at the phone, the screen, whatever it is. But Vince want to say Vince Neil. Anyway, I've got to stop it. I've got to get off this. Anyway, I love the implementation of the flute-like synth, and it really is some sensitivity and a sense of wistfulness to this vocal. Um, it's um, it's a nice vocal, nice song, nice melody, which is really supported beautifully by the synth work beneath it. So that's the first single. Then we go into Wasted, and we've got a spoken word section which begins the song. It really gives us the sense of the Eurythmics from 1984, their soundtrack, that which I think is amazing. And also, I've just been looking at Fool's Overture by Supertramp. It's probably the antithesis of what Blancmange want me to be talking about, but it's also got that same feel where it's giving us some contextual references and sort of dropping us into a world that's already created. And then we go very much into a drum feel, which is reminiscent of something which would be on the Beverly Hills soundtrack, boom, 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 but not that one. It's more like the Neutron Dance by the Pointer Sisters or something like that. Maybe they submitted it for that movie, but they didn't get in, I don't think. And is that a bit of sort of slide guitar? Is it slide guitar synth, or is it slide guitar, slide guitar? Just amazing what these synthesizers were able to do so quickly. It's a lovely, this one's an instrumental. It's lovely, but again, a touch long. And do we need the whistling solo at the end? Was it time for a good whistling? What are your top 5 whistling songs? I mean, I can think of 2 off the top of my head, and then there's a big gap for me between the first 2 and the next one, I would say. And the first one is Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. And the second one would be the Bangles doing Walk Like an Egyptian. And then, anyway, we've got the whistling out of the way. We had to have it. And now we're going to Living on a Ceiling. Anyway, it's the third single. I mean, what sort of a world is it that Living on a Ceiling on this album is the third single? My God, it's got to be the first single. It reached number 5 in Australia, and it sort of has those jungle drums to open, and then that Middle Eastern feel. Down, 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 etc. That was probably my worst rendition of Blancmange, which might give you an indication of how I really feel about this album. I'm just thinking about it. Anyway, this song with that Middle Eastern feel, down, 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 I can't do it. Middle Eastern feel reminds me a lot of The Cutter by Echo and the Bunnyman. And this came out 3 months before The Cutter. I'm just saying, You keep me running round and round, well, that's all right with me. Up and down, I'm up the wall, I'm up the bloody tree. I take umbrage at that, sir. I'm up the bloody tree. So polite, so British, so desperately wanting to keep the fans on side, the record companies on side. I'm going to say I'm up the bloody tree, but rather than say something else like I'm up the tree, but also get a little bit edgy as well. What do we got? But, to underscore that authenticity of this album, we've got Dinesh. Now, what's his last name? Pandit Dinesh, excuse me. He's playing the tabla on this track. And we've got this sitar being played by Deepak Kazauchi on sitar. And they give the solo section a bit of what for? And I love that solo bass note that just underpins everything. But the big question that comes out of this, of course, is what's he doing on a ceiling? Every time I hear living on a ceiling, it reminds me of Fran Kafka's Metamorphosis, where the guy turns into a cockroach. And is he up there and is he looking down? He's going, living on a feeling, living on a feeling. There you go. Anyway, that's the end of the first side. We start off the second side with Waves, and it is the 4th single and the last single on the album. It's got a really sort of space-like feel to it, which welcomes us into the song. And it's sort of, I would say that it's that Vince guy again is an influence here, because it fuses like a Yaz-style keyboard intro with an orchestral maneuvers sort of style of verse. And Neil definitely seems to be channeling his inner Andy McCluskey at this point. It's quite a sumptuous song. I love the experimentation of it, of the synths by Stephen. And it's a great, slower song, almost a ballad. We start off with, what's the next track? It is Kind. We start off with Kind, and I love the guitar harmonics at the start. It's cliched and all that, but it just always such a good feeling to have those beautiful harmonics, just like Yes would do with Roundabout, for example. The song and the vocals seem to be a bit down in the mix, and that's the only time I thought that on this album. And it seems to be the whole song, in fact, seems to be a bit quieter than all the other songs. It's not memorable, but it does have a great groove. It has a bass line. The where's it going to is anybody's guess. And if the I'm not sure who the female backing singers here are, whether it is Stevie Lang and Joy Yates, but they're absolutely divine. Wonderful choices. The best choice they made. Sad Day, and immediately the music and the synths and the electronica supports the idea that this is a sad day. Did I say bad day or a sad day? Well, some think a sad day is a bad day, but I'm here to tell you that sometimes a bad day can be a glad day as well, and a sad day can be a glad day as well. So there we go. But what I'm saying here is the music which starts off this song really complements the idea of it being a sad day. It's a sad day of longing, perhaps. Yet the um, guitar is the guitar melody is a bit cloying and repetitious, whereas the 80s sound seems to be all about polish. And it's a really interesting thing that, I mean, striving for a bit of authenticity, again, a bit of integrity with the guitar sound to keep that sort of in the new wave, a sense of post punk feel to it as well, I suppose, but it doesn't quite work for it. And, interestingly enough, I can't see anyone taking credit for this guitar work on here. And unfortunately, it is very repetitive. And I have a feeling that it was Neil might have been playing the guitar on this one. Um, and after, as I said, it's a bit aimless. And Neil, after the third time through playing exactly the same notes, if it was you, um, I'm sort of through with it and I'm looking for the destination rather than get off the journey. But having said that, grow up in public, I say. Grow up in public, why not? And Cruel comes on. I love the opening of this song with this poignant synth lead, and it's a real stage for Neil to climb onto and just let himself loose with sort of that Scott Walker style crooning, which is a good thing. I love the brief middle section with the synth style water drops, synth style water drops, which are then repeated and added, and they flow through the third verse, and they absolutely work perfectly. The song has a great atmosphere to it and it works really well. And the last minute or so is sublime. Put on your headphones, just drift away for that last minute, and you'll absolutely love it. It's a highlight on the album. Finally, we go up to God's Kitchen. And I wonder what they would make and serve in God's Kitchen. You've ever thought about that? What is going on in God's Kitchen? Humble pie? Low carb, no sugar? What would you snack on in God's Kitchen? Because you're not going to get any Snickers in there or anything like that. But Neil talks about God ain't in my kitchen. Well, that's right, because it's not all about you, Neil. I'm still feel as I'm picking on Neil. I'm not. It's not all about you. It's not your kitchen. It's God's kitchen. So there seems to be a sort of a bit of a logical, philosophical void here. And move on to Voltaire. If God didn't exist, it would be necessary to invent him. There's this moment. Is this a moment of existential dread and doubt, or is it just a denunciation of religion itself? Whatever you feel, it is a bit of a flat ending to this album musically. And they might be attempting a grand statement lyrically, but the music just doesn't support it. It never gets there, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I've got this note down here. Imagine Axel F by Harold Faltermeyer with agnostic lyrics, and that's probably what you'd get. It's very strange, but it's still, I'd have to say, it's much more than just simple processed music like stock Aitman music. There is substance to this song. There is direction in the lyrics generally, and it can be thought-provoking as well. There is individuality and originality in this. And so no, the answer to this is I don't think it should be purged. And the answer to why am I listening to this? Because it's a damn good listen. I really enjoy it. And, part of its success is to try and keep one foot in the camp of commerciality. Interesting idea, the camp of commerciality, and one foot over in the camp of authenticity and rebellion and rage and anger and all those beautiful things as well. But I definitely would stay there and stay with this album. And I've heard the second album, Mange Tout, which is Eat Everything. And there's some nice stuff on that as well. But I definitely keep this, and it has been a pleasure. I haven't played it for a while, but it does stay in my brain as one of those albums where I really took a chance on back in the day when I first restarted buying vinyl records. And that's part of the pleasure of music. If music of any size, shape, sound, or give me an S, sad day, gives you pleasure, then who am I to argue with your opinion? Nice going back and having it. Every time I get the word blancmange in my head, I want to say bar house. What's that telling you? Anyway, great speaking with you again. And if you'd like to catch some more of the videos and album reviews, there's a lot up there, and I'd love if you could check them out. They're over there somewhere. But until next time, I hope you're doing really well, staying cool, listening to your blancmange, bar house blancmange, and bye now.